so many suggestions for random reviews, so little time to get to them all. And while I appreciate all of them, man, there's so many I can't do in this format. But one of the things that keeps coming up regularly is Cybertron, because I've said many times that Cybertron is my favorite Transformer toy line of them all. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do a random review from Cybertron, let's make it based on the very first Cybertron toy I ever got. In fact, so early did I get this, it's actually the Galaxy Force version. So this is what looks like Cybertron Dirt Boss. It is in fact Galaxy Force Inch Up, the import version which came out ahead of the US release. Man, that was so exciting back when you could do that and they were always better than the American version with so much more paint, and we kind of have that again now, but not really the same because they come out in America for... Let's talk about this toy, shall we? As you can see, he is a monster truck, which is a rare breed amongst Transformers because, as we will learn in robot mode, not much to do with these giant wheels. But he's very Gravedigger in his look, a lot of bright green and purple mixed in. It's not Constructicon-y enough to really make me confused with that color scheme. The green's a little bit brighter, and the purple is much more prominent. So he avoids that. But he does look good. I do like the look of him quite a bit. Physically, there is one thing that always kind of got on my nerves, and that is the fact that he's kind of just a car floating above his wheels. I really wish they had dummied in some kind of suspension-looking thing for, like, right in here. But unfortunately, they did not, so... just kind of floats there. But, well, these things are hard to engineer, and we will see why shortly. I do kind of like the look that they went for on the tires, with the split through the middle, and what you can't really see is they're actually a very, very dark red. The light hits it just right, you can make it out. I'm not even sure why they bothered to make them this dark, because you can barely tell. The other thing about it, though, they do not roll, like, at all. They're going for something here, but there's just too much friction going on here in order to get them to roll properly. None of them actually work the way they should, and it's too smooth on the bottom, so there's no real friction to get the wheels going for. Yeah, it doesn't roll. So that was a shame, because it's a monster truck. You want to roll it over unsuspecting Autobots. But no, you're not going to get that, unfortunately. But still looks neat. I like some of the little details to him as well, like the exhaust pipes back here, which will come into play a little bit more prominently in robot mode. And I like the paint job they put on him. Nice silver and green paint apps all over, a little bit around here on the top. The light bar is silver. He looks quite cool. I actually really dig the look of him, in spite of a few little gaffes that I would have corrected. Because, you know, I am a toy designer that way. Now, as we know, this is Cybertron / Galaxy Force, so he comes with Cyber Key Gimmicks, or Force Chips in this case. So we have this, a nice red Speedia key, which won't focus because it wants to look at the truck. I really liked Cyber Keys. I thought this was a great little collectible pack-in. Everyone gets their own. You just kind of see how many they accumulate. And I really like the Speedia look here. The chrome symbol, that's nice, but all those little gauges, that's what really makes it. So, if we plug this into Inch Up's rear section, we can unfold the wheels. And we get this kind of low to the ground mode. And I really like this gimmick because it makes sense. Like, the wider wheelbase means better control, and lower to the ground, better aerodynamically. So he gets a little bit faster. It makes sense thematically. There is some logic behind it, and it really changes the profile of the vehicle. He looks very much like an... Now he's very off-road, which I kind of dig. Which a monster truck is off-road to begin with, but, you know, this more so. This looks like you can actually climb rocks instead of just pre-crunched cars, you know? So that was a really cool gimmick. I really liked that. I thought that was really effective. Now, we will come back because gimmick-wise, he is not done. There is a lot to this toy I really like, but we have to get him into robot mode to see it. So we'll start by unfolding the legs. As such, those will require a little bit of flipping around later. First off, though, we will rotate them, and this is what's clever. Now, in order to properly transform it, these need to be extended, using the cyber key preferably, but if you happen to have lost the cyber key, you can rotate and it will automatically trigger. That is such thoughtfulness in the engineering of this toy. Man, that's such a cool touch. Like, I really appreciate that they did that. So that way you don't lose the toy just because you lost this very tiny piece. So we're going to rotate the legs around, all the way around, like so. The transformation is very simple, like very intuitive stuff. This is another reason I really dig on Cybertron. I'm still using that dig word, but this is Dirt Boss, so I think I'm inclined to use it a little bit more. These, so it's not so much in the shadow there. Very tightly pegged in, but we can flip those out, fold those down. Hang on. Hold your pants. We got to do this in order. Rotate all the way down. There we go. Now that comes back, and here, little tab that'll let you fold the head down like so. And there we have a full robot mode for Cybertron, Dirt Boss, and or Galaxy Force Inch-Up, who's quite dirtier and dustier than I expected him to be. Because I made a quick pass with him with a little dusting wand, and it didn't quite do the job, but we're going to run with this anyway. I really dig how... See, I keep using dig. I am quite into and have much love for the look of his robot mode. Very prominently in purple, very Decepticon in color, in spite of the fact that he's technically not a Decepticon. And a lot of the green goes away here as it's relegated to his backpack, which, as you can see, is fairly ample. This is why this needed to be extended before we transformed him, not only to get out of the way of this piece behind his head, but also because he'd be extremely back-heavy. The good news is, very, very big feet. So, he can actually maintain his balance in spite of his huge back. This is, again, very smart engineering. We'll look at the head, which I am really a fan of. It's very Borg. That big eyepiece with a bunch of little lenses in it. He looks like he's either a Cybertronian Borg or a jeweler. One or the other. I don't think it's going to be the jeweler, in spite of the name Dirt Boss. Now, I'll give you a look at the torso, because here we will notice a few things. Number one, the American version put a Decepticon symbol here, because if you were on a toy shelf, you had to have a faction. Even though the cartoon, he technically never joined the Decepticons. The other thing to point out is the forearms. As you'll notice, that is not the same shade of purple. The American version left these unpainted because they're naturally this shade of gray. I don't know why they didn't just mold it in purple. They molded it in gray, and it confuses me. And I kind of prefer the look of the American version on that regard, because these are a little bit distracting, being just a few shades off. The benefit is, on the legs, they did paint the inside as well as the outside, so they match both ways around. And that part does look quite a bit better, as well as being a little bit more show accurate, because he does not have the Decepticon sigil on him. So, detail-wise, he carries a lot of it over from vehicle mode, but he uses that vehicle mode bulk to create the robot, which is why he's so intuitive in design, and that I really, really prefer. Now, articulation-wise, we have a neck that rotates. We have universal shoulders with a rotation over the bicep, 90-degree elbows. We also feature a waist swivel, as well as universal hips, and extremely deep knees. And if you want, since it's part of his transformation, the toes can bend inward if you need to balance a pose in any particular way. And again, because the feet are nice and big, he can hold his poses quite well. See, I didn't even have to try there. He just stands, for he is Dirt Boss. Hear him roar. Really like this figure. So much of this is so well thought out. And you want to see thought out. like, you want to see, like, really thought out, check this out. Remember where that cyber key slot was? Well, now it's moved behind his head, and that's a huge chunk. But, once again, we are going to use the exact same cyber key slot. And now, here, point your head forward. You're on camera. Now, when we insert it, those exhaust pipes flip forward for shoulder guns. And Cybertron really loved its shoulder guns. These are by far my favorite because not only is the engineering so good that it uses the same cyber key slot for both gimmicks, neither gimmick misfires in the mode it's not supposed to. This is so well engineered. I absolutely adore it. It's probably one of the best engineered figures in Cybertron, and you wouldn't think that because it has so much of that monster truck bulk just stuck onto his back like that. You'd see that as a sign of just like lazy engineering and design. I don't, though, because it's a monster truck. Any way of using those giant wheels for anything but backpack is really like non-intuitive, and it really doesn't work out. Like, I've seen monster truck transformers, they don't usually come out well. So in a way, it was best for them to stick them on his back. And as you can see, it doesn't interfere. It still all works, and it works really, really well. This is probably what made me so high on the Cybertron line to begin with. It's like, this was like the least popular figure of the first round of toys, and I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it, and it began a 10 years of absolutely loving this toy line. Man, it's been a long time. So there you go. That is Inchup, my very first Cybertron / Galaxy Force figure, the first of many, and probably the first of many Cybertron reviews for Random Review, because I've got a lot to get through, and everyone knows my favorite Transformer of all time is in that series. He's a bit too big for this video series, so I hear ya. I'll figure out how to get him reviewed at some point, but for now, we're going to stick to the simpler things in life. And Inchup might be simple, but he does everything right. So, I adore him.